How's it going, guys? Game Boy Player 58 here. Now, today I'm going to talk about Destiny. So, the developers of Destiny, as you all should know, were Bungie, if you didn't know. Bungie was the creator of Destiny, and the publishers for Destiny were Activision. And if you didn't know, the artists for Destiny were Christopher Barrett, and the writers of Destiny were Joseph Staunton. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And the composers of Destiny, as I remember, were Martin O'Donnell, Michael Satario, C. Paul Johnson, Paul McCartney. No, not Paul McCartney, the singer from the Beatles, but Paul McCartney. Now, the platforms of Destiny were PlayStation 3, the new PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and the Xbox One. And the release date of Destiny was on September the 9th, 2014. Now, Destiny is an action role-playing first-person shooter game, and the modes of Destiny are multiplayer, which you can play online with other players during your role playing this first-person shooter. Now, Destiny is an online-only first-person shooter video game that was developed by Bungie and published by Activision, which was released worldwide on September the 9th, 2014 for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One consoles. Now, Destiny marked Bungie's first new console franchise since the Halo series, and it's the first game in a 10-year agreement between Bungie and Activision, set in a mythic science fiction world. The game features a multiplayer shared world environment with elements of role-playing games. Now, when it says shared world, is when you go into the game, you have other players playing with you. So if you're playing the story mode, you interact with other players who are either playing on that same map or just going and playing and getting more skill points. And the scene of the Destiny game is that it's mythic and science fiction, which meaning it's from the future and everything is advanced with technology and science and all that other things, including with the environments, the guns, the people, there's aliens, there's robots, all that stuff. And the environment has an element of role-playing games, which you are role-playing or sharing a world environment. Now, activities in Destiny are divided among the player versus environment, and player versus player are PvP game types, which is basically if you're playing a versus play environment with other players or that sort of thing. In addition, this game Destiny has a normal story missions. PvE, which is player and versus environment. And now, in addition to the PvE, it includes normal story missions. Now, the PvP also features 3-player strikes and 6-player raids. A free roam patrol mode is also available for each planet and features public events. PvP also kind of features objective-based modes as well as traditional deathmatch game modes. Players take on the role of a guardian who defends of Earth's last safe city, as they wield a power called Light to protect the city from different alien races. The Guardians are also tasked with receiving a crystal being called the Traveler. While they journey to different planets to investigate and destroy the alien threats before humanity is completely wiped out. Since launch, Bungie has actually released 3 expansion packs featuring the story, adding new content and missions and new PvP modes. Year 1 of Destiny featured 2 expansions, The Dark Below in December 2014 and The House of Wolves in May 2015. A third larger expansion, The Taken King, was released in September 2015 and marked the beginning of year 2. Now, changing much of the core gameplay in December 2015, Destiny shift to an event-based model featuring more limited time events. A new large expansion called Rise of Iron was released in September 2016, and full sequel to Destiny was released in 2017, which actually will release in 2017. Upon its release, Destiny received mixed, positive reviews, with criticism considering mostly around the game's storyline and post-content. Now, the franchise of Destiny compared to Halo franchise, particularly in regards to its competitive experiences. Now, on the day one of its releases, it sold over $5 million at retail, making it the biggest new franchise launch of all time. It was called Game Raiders 2013 Game of the Year, and it received the BAFTA reward, which is the award for best video game at 2014 at the British Academy Video Game Awards. Now, Destiny's gameplay has been described as a first-person shooter that incorporates role-playing and massively multiplayer online game elements, but Bungie has avoided defining Destiny as a traditional MMO game. Instead, the game has been referred from Bungie as a shared world shooter, as it lacks many of the characteristics of traditional MMO game. Now, that's my opinion. You may have your own opinions. I'm not saying that your opinions are different, but that's my opinion. For instance, I think rather than players being able to communicate with other players in the game or on a particular server, as in the case in many controversial MMO games, Destiny only includes on-flying matchmaking that allows players to communicate only with other players with whom they are matched by the game. Now, to communicate with other players in the game world, players must use their respective console's messaging system. And now, time-limited events and modes are also occasionally added or featured in the game, but activities in Destiny are divided among players versus environment. And PvE and PvE and PvP game types across Earth, its Moon, Venus, and Mars maps are also available in PvP. And another PvE area, a massive ship called the Dreadnought that is simulated in the rings of Saturn, and 2 PvE maps for Phobos were added with the Taken King DLC, but requires the purchase of DLC. Now, the character, as you all know, you play as a guardian who has to battle and has to fight through quests, level up, and take tasks given to the player by non-player characters, which reward items and XPV. Now, Destiny features 3 character classics. Each character class has had their own specific upgrades, perks, special abilities, and 2 sub-classes that allow the player to finely tune their individual characters to provide a playable, different style. Now, there's humanoid machines, there's hunter, there's all sorts of different characters, species, only cosmetic, and does not affect the gameplay. So there are hunters, there are titans. Now hunters are hunters, they are good at sniping. Warlocks are like space wizards. And titans are really tanks who are meant to just take down anything they see in their way. Now, players can equip different kinds of weapons and armor, legendary and exotic items, which they get through the game. And now there are player versus environments, which is PvE. There are player versus player, which is PvP. And there are other modes. There are crucible modes, player statics. Now, my personal opinion is that I really love Destiny, and I think Destiny is a very interesting and wonderful game. I have no problem with it. Is that some of the ideas, maybe it reminds me a lot of too much Halo. Now, I don't mind you guys commenting, showing your own opinions, or disliking, or liking. I just, actually comment down below and tell me what your ideas of what you think Destiny is. What do you like Destiny? Do you like the story? Do you like how it is, how Bungie made it? Now, the problem with Bungie, I believe, is that it has too much DLC, and that every DLC, you either have to pay for it, and it's not free, and it costs so much money just to have other map to play on. Now, that's my own opinion, and I wish to hear your other opinions, what you think. Do you love the DLC? Do you like the concept? I love the art. I love the guns. I love the characters. I love the helmets, the armor, everything. I love the multiplayer. I love how you can play it. I love how it's free roaming. How you can travel into different places with different people. It just reminds me way too much of Halo at times. But I do love playing it, and I want to hear your ideas. So please comment down below and tell me what you think. And I will see you in the next one. I will probably talk about in my next broadcast, I will talk about Destiny multiplayer. Even though I went through it with this broadcast, I will talk about just the multiplayer in my other one. So I hope you like this one. Please show your support and comment down below and give me new ideas of what you want me to talk about. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.